What myth might end up killing you one day? The myth that lightning never strikes twice in the same place. You don't want to be there when it does. It's actually pretty dumb. If lightning never strikes the same place twice, what is the point of a lightning rod? To keep the lightning away. Once it get it once, the lightning will never hit the house again. Duh. Like chicken pox, it's best to get that first lightning strike out of the way early. They can hit them with lightning in the factory, then the house will not get hit when they install it. My Chinese family believes that if you drink cold water you'll get fat/won't be able to lose your fat. They always give me shit when I have something from the fridge. But it takes energy from the body to warm up the cold liquid inside you. There have been so many studies on this and the energy is negligible. There aren't really any significant differences between drinking a warm versus cold beverage, at least not health-wise. Chinese people believe that shit with their entire core despite scientific evidence against it. Yeah, I realized it would be actual calories and not the kilocalories we means for food energy, but the idea was no matter what, it takes away energy from the system to warm it up. Alligators can't catch you if you run zigzag. False. Alligators can reach speeds of up to 30 miles per hour in short bursts and can fairly easily outrun a human if they choose to chase one down. If an alligator starts to chase you, your best bet of getting away is actually running in a straight line because their blind spot is directly in front of their nose. Was looking for this one. Alligators can run fast, but not far. Running in a zigzag decreases your chances of getting far enough away quickly enough. The more you look at it, the more it appears this myth was created and perpetuated by hungry alligators. 3 seconds rule for sure. Whoa, I'd always heard it was 5 seconds. Who knows how much Ebola I've consumed in those extra 2. It's the 30 seconds rule in my house. Probably explains why so many of us suffer from occasional bouts of explosive diarrhea. Only 30 seconds? It's 3 days where I live. No problem if someone steps on it. Hey man, you going to eat that yogurt cup? Nah man, you can have it, it's only been on the floor for 2.5 days. Security around Area 51 is pretty lax and can't deal with a crowd. Machine guns, dealing with crowds since 1884. And emus. Well, not emus. Not well at least. A vampire will come into my room uninvited one night and I will pour the contents of the bag of rice I keep beside me at all times. Since my dear wife Agnes died, it is the closest thing I have for feminine company, onto the ground. Aha! I will yell triumphantly, you, a vampire, must now count all those pieces of rice before you can come one step closer to me, you foolish, foolish creature of the night. No, the vampire will reply, eating me. Well, if vampires can enter your house uninvited and avoid counting things, maybe the eating you part was exaggerated too? Or maybe they ask for a side of garlic fries instead. It could go either way. According to the upvotes in the thread about what might save your life someday, people thinking that adrenaline will give them enough strength to pull themselves up off a ledge when they normally can't move an inch. Adrenaline isn't magic. Sure, it's a hell of a pain reliever, and can give you a little boost. I read the other thread. Even though grips differ, I tend to agree that if you can't do a pull-up on a pull-up bar, you ain't climbing up off a ledge without help. Adrenaline can do wild things though. I fell in a 10-foot sinkhole and managed to catch myself on the edge. I couldn't pull myself out, but I somehow caught myself in the second it took for the ground below me to cave in and held myself long enough for my friends to grab me and pull me out. I'm more amazed by the reaction time it gave me, rather than actual strength, because I still couldn't pull myself up. The myth that you have to wait 24 hours to report a missing person. The first 24 hours are crucial to finding someone that has gone missing, so I would hope that my friends, family, and co-workers wouldn't wait, but you never know. Yeah, a lot can happen in a minute, imagine a full day. I think back in the day when they assumed all missing teens and kids were just run away, they wouldn't take missing person reports seriously unless it had been a day or so, and by back in the day I mean the 80s. My parents were about to report me missing to the police cause I had my phone off during a test one evening, so at least I'm covered. Unlike in every single movie with a defibrillator scene, it does nothing to help if someone's flatlining. It would make things even worse. Thankfully AEDs make decisions for you in case you panic and go with what you know from the big screen. They actually make them idiot-proof. If you see one, many restaurants/public places/schools/work have them. Don't be afraid to use it on someone dying. Most cases a loud voice will walk you through everything. Worst case, Good Samaritan laws cover your ass from being sued. Feed a cold, starve a fever, or vice versa. Listen, y'all, make sure sick people are well hydrated, and don't force sick people to eat. They lose more fluids, and it's cruel and unnecessary. And if you lose too much in fluids and then can't hold down water, please see a doctor. You'll benefit from some 4 fluids if you get legitimately dehydrated. Source, MICUIN. Also, being feverish is usually a good thing to be when you're sick. Fever is a way your body responds to infection, not a thing the infection does to your body. Your immune cells and proteins function better at slightly higher temperatures. There are diseases which induce fever because they can also benefit from it, but they aren't the norm. That saturated fats clog your arteries and low fat is good for you. Neither is true. Your body actually needs saturated fats. This theory has been debunked a long time ago but didn't gain the spotlight because all these studies etc. are funded by food companies and manufacturers, and they'll be at loss if everyone came to know. You can Google more of this or read this freaking amazing book called Deep Nutrition by Dr. Catherine Shanahan. I think that's what her name was. There has been quite a bit of evidence that all food is bad for you. 100% of people who ate food died. But seriously, that's true. The anti-saturated fat movement was also kept alive by the vegetarians/vegans. There is also a good bit of science saying that eating cholesterol-rich foods has no negative effect on your cholesterol levels, which actually measure your body's carriers for cholesterol called lipoproteins. And that the deadly low-density lipoproteins LDL are made when your body produces them from sugar-based sources. People really shouldn't be eating that much carbohydrates, but during the war when meat was scarce, the government had a plan to keep people alive by feeding them a bunch of extra bread and starches which were plentiful. Now that meat is available again, people are having a hard time going back because they grew up with their parents telling them that fat is bad, and it doesn't help that carbs are almost always significantly cheaper than protein sources. That bears can't run downhill. What kind of myth is this? Not sure, but now I picture them rolling into a ball and going downhill boulder style. I once was driving in rural New Mexico. A black bear came rolling down a road cut about 60 yards, a little less than 60 meters, plopped onto the shoulder of the road. Walked across the road, climbed over the guardrail and rolled another 100 yards or so down to the bottom of the valley. Looked like less work than walking. That's how pandas operate. Vietnamese people think if you position your body any way other than upright, your organs will be rearranged and potentially kill you. I used to do handstands and walk on my hands as a teen to scare my mom, lol. How do they sleep if they can't lie down? Sorry. I wasn't clear. Laying down is fine. You just can't be upside down. This must be regional because I literally never heard of this myth, and I've been living here for 30 years. Possibly. I'm from the south if it is regional. I've never looked it up. I just know of it from getting yelled at as a kid for trying to do stunts like handstands, lol. I'm only going a block, I don't need to wear my helmet. Edit, while it's probably good advice for cyclists, I was thinking for motorcyclists. 100%. I once fell off a bicycle after literally just leaving the driveway and smacked my head so hard that I had a seizure and got a concussion, and have no memory of leaving my house or the ambulance ride all the way up until I woke up in the hospital 6 hours later. I was finding random scabs on my body for a while after that, aside from the big one on my shoulder, since I apparently landed on it at one point. I didn't knock myself out, but when I was 12 I hung a bag from my handlebar and started to pedal out of my driveway. The bag instantly caught the front wheel and stopped it, flipping me over the front.